Hello everyone, Luke here and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video what we're going to be doing is making a motor mount for our e-scooter. So what I'm going to be using is this old shelving bracket, and you can see that it has a U profile. Right, so let's take a closer look at that. So the idea for this motor mount is actually quite simple. So what I'm going to do is measure this motor, which is 35 centimeters around, find the midpoint of my bracket, and then cut out these sections right here 35 centimeters across, so I'll be left with these parts right here. That means I should be able to bend this around the motor, it will hug it snugly, and then I can make some feet to bolt down onto my scooter. Right, so let's do that. So there we go, I've got this cut out, and you're probably going to notice a difference in the actual material, and I decided to use aluminium instead, just because it's way more lightweight, because that steel was quite heavy, but it still should be really strong, and definitely strong enough to hold this motor down. Right, so let's take a look at how nicely this snugs the motor. I've still got a little bit of bending to do on this, but as you can see, you're going to start getting the gist of it. So it goes around like that, and then it definitely needs to be cut just a little bit more so these corners hug the motor and keep it nice and tight into place. So what I'm going to do next is cut these pieces out here and this side on both sides, and then bend the flat plate out so it basically has some feet to be able to bolt onto the e-scooter. So I'm going to go off and do that now. Okay, so what I've just done is I've cut these little angles out right here, all on all four sides, and you can see it's gripping the motor really nicely. So all I've got to do is do a little bit more bending to make sure all of this is nice and snug. So what I'm going to do now is start to cut these feet so you've got something to bolt it onto the e-scooter with. Right, so I'm going to go and do that now. And there you have it, that's the motor mount actually made up. And it's only about one or two things that we have to do to completely finish this. And this looks really nice actually, I'm liking the look of this. It's got 2 feet on the bottom so it can be bolted. And that's the second part that I was talking about. But there's one important thing to keep this all nice and tight together. So what I'm going to do is, through here, I'm going to drill a hole out and then put a bolt through it. So that means I can tighten it up and it should grip that motor really nicely, and it should not fall out just because it grips so nicely. Right, so I'm going to go off and do that, and I'll show you the result once I'm done. And there we go, so I decided to clean this mount up just a little bit, and you can see that I've given it a nice coat of copper, and it looks really nice. And this stuff inside, I'm pretty sure that this is called like draft sealant, and you use it for like sealing doors and stuff, and you can get it at any big box store. And the reason why I put that on there is because I wanted to reduce the vibrations of the motor if there is any. Right, so let me show you what it looks like when it's tightened up. And there you go, that is the motor completely clamped in its case, and that is completely solid and it's not going to come out. So I've drilled 2 holes at the bottom of these feet right here, and then I've cut out this little steel base with also 2 holes drilled out into it. So that means I can stick this in here, have the wires running through the big hole right there so I can still connect it up, and then put 2 bolts down, and that will bolt into my scooter. So here's my motor mount, and there's either going to be 2 places where this is going to get bolted onto. It's either going to be bolted onto the bottom because I've got enough clearance at the bottom of this scooter for it to be bolted on there, or it's going to be bolted on top of this footplate right here, just because the sprocket and the back wheel sits right here on the right side. So let's put this down and line it up. So when that's on, it's going to sit around here, and then all I'm going to do is run a bolt through the wood all the way to the bottom, and it gets screwed on right there, and I think that looks absolutely beautiful. And there you have it, that is my completed motor mount. So I'm happy with the result of this motor mount, and I'm actually quite excited to bolt it onto my scooter to finish the electronics. And if you're interested in that, that video will be coming soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that. This was actually really easy to build, and it didn't take much material at all. You think about it, I just used a little bracket and another little bracket, and it's just been cut, bended and bolted together. So that brings me to the end of the video, and I really enjoyed this one. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them all. Anyway guys, I hope you have a great day and I'll see you later.